Only crazy people see psychologists, right? Welcome and thank you so much for stopping by to join me for my very first video. Let me begin by introducing myself. I am Dr. Wendy Rice, licensed psychologist, speaker, and generally down-to-earth person. As the owner of Rice Psychology Group, I work hard to demystify mental health problems. I want folks to approach mental health with an air of acceptance, not judgment. I want people to know that there are strategies for success available to all of us. We just have to spend a little time together to figure out what those strategies are. Have you ever heard anyone mention that they know someone who's in therapy, but they didn't want to say it too loudly? In case someone else hears them, I'll let you in on a secret. Normal people see psychologists too. By the end of this very brief video, it is my hope that therapy won't be such a scary or shameful word anymore. And if you hear that someone has met with a psychologist, you'll say to yourself, yeah, that's cool. I wish I was lucky enough to find someone too. Newsflash, unlike pregnancy, where you either are or you aren't, symptoms of mental health exist along a continuum. And many, if not most of us, have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And since life doesn't come with a full-service manual, sometimes talking with a psychologist can be one of the kindest gifts available. Now, not just any psychologist, but one who really gets it. One with a sense of humor, a sense of purpose, really good training, and of course, a comfortable couch. Let's take attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, for an example. I know lots about this one. Some of the hallmarks include being forgetful, disorganized, and even having trouble sitting still. Sound familiar? Now, having those three symptoms doesn't necessarily mean that you have ADHD. There's much more involved in making a good diagnosis. Still, having some of these problems can make life more difficult. But having many of these problems to the point that they substantially interfere with life and cause a great deal of distress is a much bigger problem. But regardless of whether problems are big enough to warrant a diagnosis, understanding, support, and strategies can be priceless as we negotiate the sometimes bumpy road ahead. And although I use ADHD as my example, the same goes for depression, anxiety, stress, anger management, relationships, and even learning problems. They all exist along a continuum. So what happens in a psychologist's office? I can't speak for everyone, but I can tell you what happens when people come to see me or another gifted psychologist at the Rice Psychology Group. When we meet with adults, we usually just talk, and that's the extent of it. When we see kids, we usually talk, color, play, or even read books together. Sometimes there's a little crying, but more often than not, we do quite a bit of laughing too. It's the best medicine. And along the way, we accomplish the first step, getting a good understanding of what's going on. Second, we decide if a diagnosis is warranted, and if it is, we learn about that together. Either way, we go on to the third step, where we work as partners to identify difficulties, prioritize the ones that need immediate attention, and identify the factors in life that may be helping or hindering. The fourth and final step is to come up with a plan, which I call our strategies for success. Most people leave their first appointment wishing it could go on longer and wondering why they waited so long. So now what do you think? Do only crazy people see psychologists or go to therapy? See how I said that out loud? Can you say that out loud with me? Therapy. Okay. No, of course not. As I close, I hope that you will remember that most of us have a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And when the going gets tough, or you aren't sure if you or your child is just going through a stage or a phase, or whether there's something more, there are authentic, very well-trained, relatively easy to talk to psychologists out there to lend a hand. Please give us a call or send us an email. Let us know what you thought of this video, and if we might be able to help you or a loved one figure out some challenges, demystify them, and get going with some very on-point and very doable strategies for success. Thank you very much for joining me today. I appreciate the time you spent and that you had the patience to make it all the way to the end of my video. Have a great day.